Matt Ducey.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I'd like to take a bit of a different tact compared to my last speaker and talk about children and young people and how this should be at the centre of the legislation that we are talking about today. If we take a step back, I want to join my colleague Marama Fox and acknowledge the very brave children and young people who spoke very openly about their experiences in care and those experiences that have informed this bill that is before us in the House in its first reading today. I'd also like to acknowledge our Chair of our Social Services Select Committee, Alfred Naro, where this bill will be going after its first reading. And I think we've heard today some very empathic, energetic and emphatic views and thoughts about where we are heading with this legislation. And I think overall this level of debate is correct. It's something we need to get right. It's very clear from the expert panel's recommendations. Things have been broken for a long time. This is not just about a reform, it's a root and branch change to the way we care for some of our most vulnerable children and young people in New Zealand, Mr Speaker. And I think what's important is that we stay focused on those vulnerable children and young people and put them at the heart of the decision making. What we know about the life course that we all travel on as we age, it's all about transitions. Transitioning from infancy into childhood, into young adults, adolescence, teenage years, and into adulthood. And what we know is these young people require a certain level of support that we haven't been providing. So I think it's fantastic that this bill will be ensuring that children in care receive a transitionary service up to the age of 21, as well as future support up to the age of 25. Also in this bill as well, Mr Speaker, is provision for a lot more early intervention. So, like myself, there'll be other people in this House that have worked in early intervention services for young people, and they'll know themselves that quite often you get to work with young people in an early intervention framework in their teenage years, but it comes very clear very quickly, if it was early intervention, you would have intervened a lot earlier, and this bill will support that, Mr Speaker. Unlike the last speaker, I welcome the introduction of 17-year-olds into youth justice. I think it's not only about being tough on crime, because we all know for that level of youth criminal they can go into the adult court, but it's also about being tough on the causes of crime. And through the youth justice system, we will be able to address that. And I applaud the Minister for being so bold in bringing in these changes under this bill, Mr Speaker. Because I think what we also need to do is think about how we provide a whole government approach to ensure we work with these vulnerable children and young people. And behind the scenes, with a lot of services involved, this bill will be looking at supporting sharing data better between services to inform better outcomes. And this goes to the heart of one of the principles of this bill, Mr Speaker, about this government's social investment approach. We know with vulnerable children and young people, if we act earlier, if we put the resources up front, if we invest earlier, we can support these children to go on and be productive members of New Zealand society, Mr Speaker, and that's why I support it to the House. Thank you.